Hi, it's Joyce with MommyTalkShow.com. We're shooting today at the CDC campus here in Atlanta, Georgia, talking with experts about children and asthma. Joining me now is Dr. Joy Sue. Thank you so much for agreeing to talk to Mommy Talk Show viewers.
Thank you for having me here.
Now, a lot of times parents like me and my husband, we suffer along with our children during winter months because they have asthma. What makes the winter so much more treacherous for children with asthma?
Winter can definitely be a difficult time for people with asthma, including children with asthma. First, the common cold and influenza, also known as the flu, are more common in winter. And we know these infections can cause asthma attacks or trigger worsened symptoms. Also, for some people, cold, dry air can trigger asthma symptoms or asthma attacks.
Now, a lot of parents, I think they see things online, like on Facebook, about essential oils and different things that they may want to try to treat asthma. What are your thoughts on that?
So essential oils are a kind of complementary and alternative medicine. And complementary and alternative medicine, many of these have not been tested scientifically and may not be safe. So what we recommend is for complementary and alternative medicine to talk about that with your doctor before starting any of these. And complementary and alternative medicine should never be a substitute for asthma medication that your doctor prescribes.
Which leads me to my next question about asthma medication. One of the common things that children are prescribed are steroids. And you have to kind of weigh, are they safe? How long can they stay on steroids? Things like that. What is your take on steroids for children? Because like our son is on 2 asthma maintenance medications and they're both steroids.
It's understandable to be concerned about steroid side effects. And before I get to your question about steroid side effects, I do want to point out that poorly controlled asthma can have side effects as well. And one of the side effects that could happen with poorly controlled asthma is delayed growth in children. So to get back to your question about steroid side effects, I first want to start out by saying that the national guidelines recommend inhaled steroids used preventatively for asthma and oral steroids, meaning steroid pills or steroid liquids used for asthma attacks, based on the highest quality of scientific research out there. So to start off with inhaled steroids, which you mentioned, national guidelines and extensive research has shown that inhaled steroids are the most effective long-term controller medication out there to prevent asthma symptoms. And inhaled steroids are generally safe when taken as prescribed. And we know that once inhaled steroids get into the airways, very little goes outside the body. But there are things that you can do to reduce that low risk even further with inhaled steroids. You can have your child use a spacer or valve holding chamber if prescribed by your doctor, and or have your child rinse his or her mouth out after using an inhaled steroid. And I think you also brought up steroid pills or oral steroids.
Oral steroids.
Right. So we do know from the research that's out there, it seems that children who receive 4 or more courses of oral steroids in a year might have a higher risk of steroid side effects. And I want to clarify the word courses, because I'm not saying 4 or more days of steroid pills or steroid liquid in a year. Each course, typically when prescribed by physicians, is about 6 days worth of steroid pills or steroid liquid. So we're talking about somewhere along the lines of 20 or more days of steroid pills or steroid liquid in a year. And for that reason, the national guidelines do recommend that any child that receives 4 or more steroid courses orally in a year have their asthma management plan reevaluated by a physician. Just to sum up, inhaled steroids are generally safe when taken as prescribed, including when they're prescribed to take alongside steroid pills during an asthma attack. And for steroid pills, it's just important to remember that 4 or more courses of steroid pills or liquid steroid in a year should have their children reevaluated by a physician for their asthma management plan.
And that's something we do. We try to stay in good communication with our pediatrician when we need to. But a lot of parents are wondering, how do I know when my child has outgrown their asthma? What are some of the signs that we could take and say, well, maybe things are getting better, things are improving, they've grown out of it?
So research has actually shown that asthma cannot be outgrown. We do know that children for some children, their symptoms can quiet down, their asthma can quiet down, but their asthma symptoms can come back months, years, or decades later.
That's not what I want to hear.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But we know that asthma can be controlled. We know that that asthma cannot be outgrown, but it can be controlled.
Okay. And you're an internist here with the CDC. Is there new research, new results that we can look to?
So we've actually just recently published an article summarizing the research on the benefits of asthma self-management education and home visits for asthma. And just to kind of unpack these terms a little bit.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of home visits for asthma.
Sure. So asthma self-management education sounds like what it is. It can be group classes or it can be one-on-one teaching about how you and your child can control or manage asthma. Now, home visits for asthma are conducted by staff who are trained to go into the home, your home, and inspect the home for triggers that might worsen your child's asthma. And often these staff are trained to give personalized one-on-one teaching about how to reduce exposure to these asthma triggers when they're in the home.
Okay, well, I will leave a link to that research online on mommytalkshow.com to share with my viewers. Dr. Sue, thank you so much for being here and joining us and telling us about this new research and options for parents. And I want to thank the CDC for inviting us here to explore this valuable information for children who have asthma and sharing it with Mommy Talk Show viewers.